Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do K Episode 7 review. So before I get started, of course, look down in the description down below for the link to this week's episode of K. Now, the rating for this week is going to be a great, because the fight between Munakata and Kuro, it was a good fight, but even, like, it was a really good fight. I enjoyed it. Kuro doing his thing against Sector 4 was actually really cool to see. We saw him go against Aoshima. We saw him take out a few of the, a few of the other blue members. And by the way, I love that shit. I love that shit, man. When she's like, everyone, draw, and then they're all drawing and shit. Just bato, 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 bato. Like, that's just, yo. That shit is sexy. That shit is sexy. It really is. I love that shit. Alright? I love that shit. But most of the time, in fact, all the time, we've seen Kuro fight. It was against Homura. The red guys. But now, he's fighting Sector 4, the blue guys. And, wow, I mean, Aoshima, like, she was impressive because she actually was, like, competing with Kuro, even though Kuro kind of had the upper hand, because when she did her two, the two air cuts or the two blue cuts, like, whatever it is exactly, because the red guys, like, their color is, it's heat, but the blue guys, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what it is exactly, but, it's like some weird data pixel type of thing, but she does her cuts, and at the same time, Kuro uses his hand technique, and then he blocks like the cuts, like that hand extension. He blocks the cuts with the hand extension. So Kuro, like, and he did it fairly easily. But when Munakata came in, oh sweet Jesus, Munakata, man, he didn't even draw his sword, and because this shocks you, because when Kuro went up against, like, every time he fought against Yatta, who was the quote-unquote vanguard of Homura, he was outclassing Yatta, like he really was. But this goes to show you just how powerful a king is. Kuro, someone of, very high skill in the world of K, able to compete with, easily compete with Aoshima. In fact, probably could have beat her if the fight continued. He was getting his ass pwned by Munakata. It wasn't even funny. Like, the fight started off hand-to-hand combat, pure hand-to-hand combat, because Munakata was taunting Kuro about using his sword. How his sword was the sword that he has on his waist was the sword that belonged to Miwa. We already know that, and Kuro won't use the sword to kill someone like Aoshima or Munakata, because the sword is used to kill someone else, a specific person, which at this point in time I believe is going to be Shiro. Yeah, because when it comes to Shiro, because at the end of the episode, like, we see, and he's ready to draw in case Shiro turns into the evil king. But hand-to-hand combat, no hand extension, just straight up hand-to-hand combat. And at some point, it got kind of gay, where, like, he ducked underneath the punch and, like, was, like, right in his face, like, yeah. Like, it was kind of weird, but then he makes up for that shit. Because Munakata, after dodging another punch, straight up bitch smack, like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, that was good. That was good. Like, that was really, really good. It's because that shit surprised me. And then Kuro, he got smacked, and he paused in midair. I was like, damn, like, yo, bitch smack. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, ho? Where's my money? Yo, man, where's my money? Where's my money, man? Like, straight the fuck up. Like, it was, yeah. Like, that was a great smack. That was smack of the month right there. It's literally smack of the month. And at the same time, they continue the fight. He doesn't draw the actual sword, but he draws the actual sword in sheath. And he is literally punking. He is punking Kuro with the sheath alone. It was like, damn, like, he just punking him, like, smack, smack. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on, draw your sword. Draw your sword. Like, ripping his head and shit. Like, come on, draw your sword, man. Like, what are you doing? And, like, he was punking him. Dude, he was punking him. He was punking him. This shit was good. This shit was really good. But the main focus of the episode wasn't Scepter Blue. I mean, Scepter Blue. Scepter 4. It wasn't Kuro. It wasn't even Shiro. It was Neko. Because Neko, her abilities were revealed in full. And it's perception interference, which is apparently much more broader than hallucinations when it comes to visual and, like visual and hearing illusions. It's much more than that. It's like she can alter your memories. She can alter your memories. She can alter your perception of like space. It's like what the fuck? Like it's like a power like that is when used in certain ways can be OP as fuck. And like that's how like we actually see her when she's in cat form. And then when Shiro came crashing down through the roof, and she's staring at what's her name? The supposed best friend in the school. I forgot her name completely, but it doesn't matter because now she's not relevant anymore. At least I don't believe so. And what happens is that Neko looks at her. She does that weird little like time thing or like that meow thing, and like a little space bubble appears. And then apparently, off the gate, her memories were altered. Like Kuro made the deduction that Neko was able to make the people at school believe that Shiro was a old friend of theirs. So it's like that's a pretty dangerous power. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, son. The way Munakata broke, with the way this dude came out with the sword of Damocles, and he literally broke the illusion. It was like, damn, like it was like crazy. It was crazy. This guy he came out beastly, like on some G shit, like walking in the middle of that shit. The actual illusion was like the illusion was like deteriorating. So, and apparently, according to Munakata, I believe it was she can alter one's perception with her at the center. And so basically, it's kind of like what is exactly? It's kind of like within her range, she can alter human perception, and it's a pretty deadly ability. Like it really is. But Awashima was actually smart enough to realize that this is actually, like kind of like an illusion, but it's more than that though, because basically I think this whole entire interference of perception, what it entails basically is similar to Aizen's complete hypnosis. But in this sense, it's more or less within her range. Like, she can only do it at a certain range. Like, that's the way it appears to be. But again, Munakata, he didn't give a flying fuck. He walked in there, sword of Damocles, and then it was like, what the fuck? And the illusion was gone. It was really cool shit. Like, this episode gets props. It does. And then when we see, because at the beginning, when Scepter 4 comes in there, and Kuro actually lets Shiro and Neko escape while he takes on Munakata. The thing here was that after he got his ass whooped, and then the lights start turning off and shit, and then we see like a kind of glowing figure of Shiro. That was all Neko. That was all Neko, but she must have been portraying Shiro. Either she was portraying the character Shiro, or Shiro was actually kind of like talking through her in a sense. I'm not too sure exactly what happened in that moment, because Kuro was on the ground, and he could hear Shiro talking to him, even though the Shiro that we saw in the stands wasn't moving his lips. So I can assume that Neko somehow relayed what Shiro was telling her to him, Kuro. That's what I'm assuming. And when Shiro, not Shiro, but Neko, when she played at Shiro and did this glowing sword of Damocles, like it was like some holy sword and shit. And everyone's like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? And then she like powers up, and then Munakata counters that shit. It was like, damn. And then Kuro gets up punch, a straight up punch to the jaw. So it's like, like it was good. It was really good. Now the question here is that sword the true sword of Damocles when it comes to the Colorless King? I'm not too sure, because We know that Neko is a strain. She is not. She has the power. She has the psychic powers of someone from a clan, but she's not a clan member. She's never part of a clan. In fact, her backstory, even though we know what her powers are, her backstory is still in the wind. It's still, it's still unknown. There's still a veil surrounding that, and we need to know we should know like what's going on, because the fact that she could turn into a cat, or like I'm not too sure if her base form is a cat or if the actual human form that we see is her base form. I think it's the cat that's actual like base form, because the cats can be physically seen by other people, like regular humans. But her human form can't be seen by regular humans. Only psychic humans can see her. So I'm assuming that her cat is the cat form is like the true form that she has. But like we need to find out more, like a lot more. And then at the end of the episode, we actually see, because now that we know that she can manipulate memories, Shiro knows that she must have messed up his memories. And what happens, like, we see a really cool kind of scene here, where it's like an old school video projector, and it's like rewinding. It's like rewinding really, really fast. And then we see all the school life stuff in the actual series thus far, in the anime series, and it's rewinding in fast motion. And then we get back to the point where Shiro fell through the roof. Neko's right there, and then Neko, because Neko is actually returning the memories that he lost. And then Shiro is she's talking to Neko. He's talking to Neko. Neko becomes more entwined with Shiro. Shiro gets confronted by Fukimi, whatever her name is, and then Neko looks at her, does her thing with the whole entire bubble thing, whatever, and I think that, I'm not too sure, but I think that the name Awashima was given by Neko to Shiro. I think that Neko named him because he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember. And then, we see Kukuri. No, Kukuri, yeah, Kukuri, duh, yeah. Kukuri, she, responds like, oh, yeah, I remember, Awashima. So, again, Neko is altering the memories of these two. And so, I think that's, again, I'm not too sure if that's actually his name, Shiro or Awashima, or if that was a name that Neko gave him. It's kind of hard to tell at this point in time. But then Shiro asks her, wait, is that it? Like, is that it? And then we see her in, like, a kind of, like, the outfit's kind of, I forgot what the outfit's, like, kind of like a video, whatever, fuck it, right? We see her in this outfit, and she's talking to, like, us, but Shiro and Kuro are talking back to her. So it's kind of like, she kind of, like, broke the fourth wall, in a sense, I guess. I'm not too sure. But regardless, she plays the image, or she goes back, or she tries to tap into the lost memories of Shiro. Because not only did he suffer from the memory alteration by Neko, but also beforehand, he had amnesia. So it was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what's going on? And then, this is where I was like, oh, here we go. Alright. A change of pace. And the reason why is this. When we see his memory, his actual memory, he's on, like, the edge of this ledge of this ship. And he's being kicked at by this guy we've seen before at the beginning of the series. And he's like, bye. And then he kicks him down. And he falls, free falls back down to the ground where he lands in, like, the school roof. Now, the person who kicked him, because I looked up on the Wikia, he is the Silver King. He is the Silver King. The Silver King, Adolf, straight the fuck up, Adolf, man. Adolf K. Weissman. Adolf K. Weissman. Now, Mr. Weissman, I don't know. But the reason why I like this is because now we're seeing another king. Because there's 7 kings, man. We've already seen we've seen enough of Mikoto and Munakata. We know that Shiro may be the colorless king. We're not too sure. In fact, it may be Neko, but I'm not too sure. I mean, that's pushing it. It is, but I'm going to assume that it's Shiro. And now we know that Adolf K. Weissman is the Silver King. We still don't know who the Green King is. The Green King is a freaking mystery. He's a fucking mystery. I don't know. I don't know. But when it comes to kings, I think that's it. I mean, because on the Wikia, in fact, let me check real quick right now. Because on the Wikia, there's like a list of kings and shit. And yeah, like okay. So there's Munakata, there's Mikoto, Weissman, Miwa, former king, and then the Golden King, who is Daikaku. Daikaku, he's the Golden King. And that's only 5 of the kings. There's 7. The other 2, I don't know who they are. So, but we'll see in the future, hopefully, alright? Because the Green King, I mean, the Green Clan, I really want to know. Because I remember in one of the past episodes, Fushimi was like, I hope the Greens don't find out what we're doing. Why? Why are the Greens so threatening? So I said, come on, like, I really want to know what's going on here with the Green guys. But yeah, I'm done. So I'm done. King of Lightning. This episode, okay, rating overall great. I will say that the pacing was spot on. It was fucking spot on. The pacing was spot on. The animation could have been a little bit better because it was, you know, it was pretty dark. Like, it was nighttime. Like, we couldn't really see shit in like the corners because, you know, but whatever. The character development, when it came to Neko, it was there. Yeah, her there. Kuro, it was there too. Because Kuro, when he was fighting against Munakata, he was taking all the heat. Even though Shiro was the quote-unquote the villain, he was taking the heat. And he was taking the burden of all that shit. And at the same time, he was playing the role of a guardian for the person that he's trying to kill. And it was a nice little counteraction here between what he wanted to do and what he's obligated to do. And at the same time, when he was getting punked by freaking, you know, he was getting punked by Munakata. And then when it came to the sword has meaning because it was Miwa's old sword. And then how that's gonna tie in to him killing Shiro or not is, you know, again, that's pretty good too. And so basically, when it came to the 3 main characters, Kuro, Neko, and Shiro, good character development for those 3. And then, of course, the progression of the story was also there. So overall, episode was a great episode of K. It really was. So that being said, King of Lightning, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe as always. And now I'm signing out. Peace. Have a nice day.